My name is Ralph. I'm really glad to be here today. Thanks for inviting us. We just met WITSIDE a couple of weeks ago at Connections in Dallas, and now we are here, and that's what's great about the Click community. As I said, my name is Ralph. I'm CEO of HiCo Nation Switzerland, but much more important for today is that I'm a Click enthusiast since 2007. And that means, whoever understands what I'm saying you, is that I'm older than set analysis. That's the Click equivalent of telling your kids you're older than Google. So I've been in the trenches for quite some years. Also interesting about me is that I'm probably soon to be unemployed, which is okay. I just became a father. I like gardening. And if you have any open job applications, just stop by our booth and let me fill them out. It would be very helpful. Just kidding. But as a BI consultant, this is the impression you could get when attending events like these, which I very frequently do. And why is this? Because technology is making huge leaps in getting us to extract data, democratize it, and having augmented intelligence doing my job. But there is this one critical piece of my job that will keep me employed probably for the next couple of decades. And this is making people understand their data. And what this means is if we think about how we consume information, we got to a level where we accept that we don't fully understand the reports that we are presented. I could do now a raise of hands, but we are a little short on time, I understand. So I'll just assume you understand what I mean. Everyone has got a report in his life, and probably within this week, that he was not fully aware of what he's looking at. This could be internal, external, and this is something that struck me pretty odd for the last decade that I've been working. No, that's okay. Yes, I want them to look at me. So, when this is becoming the normality, then there is something wrong. And this will also not be something that augmented intelligence will change. And before we jump into, I want to do a little history lesson on visualization, which should be an aid to understand data. This is William Playfair, a Scotsman that 230 years ago was accepted, or he's accepted to be the inventor of one of the most iconic chart types we use today. The line chart, the bar chart, and quite unfortunately, also the pie chart. And what has happened in the last 230 years since we got these awesome tools? I mean, you could do this today and you would be fine, right? So what did we do? We didn't try to think about standardizing it. What we did is every tool that's out there tried to outdo themselves with what flashy and new kind of visualizations they can do with too little attention on what's actually needed and understood. And I'm not doing just theory here now. Let's do a test, okay? So every one of you now is a chief executive of Tata Communications. This is an official example from their webpage. And I want to do a little exercise with you, because this is real life. This is a dashboard, obviously. So, Mr. Presenters, you have a microphone. What's the KPI we're looking at here? What's the measure we're looking at here? Traditional services, 75%, some shares. What are we looking at?
I have no clue.
Exactly. But it's pretty obvious because it's gross revenue, right? It's here.
Yeah.
Very obvious. The boomerang tells us. And also, which period we're looking at is hidden well in the footprint. Same for what exactly we're comparing. But the key question is, which period is which one? We don't know. We could assume the inner circle is the previous year, the outer circle is the last year. But as soon as you need to do assumptions, guesses, calculations in your head, there is something utterly wrong with the dashboard, because the dashboard should help you understand this. I would be better off having this in a boring table, because the visuals are, besides being nice, not helping me with anything. There's also interesting use of color. The same shade of green has 3 different meanings, which is also very helpful in understanding the chart. So I need to read everything, and I'm still clueless at some of these elements. Now, this is maybe an extreme example, but not as extreme as you might think. Just Google Management Dashboard. It's like an art gallery. It's like artists, BI BI consultants or like artists. I myself been doing this for years and trying, okay, this is how it's done before. I want to bring my own mark on this. And you could argue, I mean, looking at the current political situation just in Europe, you could probably get the impression that we as humanity, we are not able to get on the same side on anything, let alone communication, independent of geographical background, culture, language. So we could just say, let's stop here, not possible. But it kind of is possible. If you look at what musicians are doing for hundreds of years, they use a notation, a semantic notation that everyone understands. Any musicians here? So you would probably agree, no matter which composer writes a sheet music for you, you understand it. Okay, musicians had hundreds of years to do that. We are just 230 years into the race, maybe 2,300 will catch up. But there are other professions, actually a lot of other professions that have mastered this early on. Now, why is this the case? These professions, they face fatal errors, they face embarrassment, very costly wrong decisions. But isn't this also true for management reporting? We had cases where companies argued for a month over misinterpreted information on dashboards and almost fired a guy from North America because they just didn't understand that the axis was cut and he's actually not that bad off because no one dared to read the numbers on top. So this is a real life problem that I'm pretty sure everyone here faced at least once, probably this week, if not today. So what are we doing about this? And why has this been the situation for so long? It's very, very hard to change behavior. We see this every day. And also, it's a quite tough job. But there is, luckily, else I wouldn't be here, something that helps us in this journey. And this is called the International Business Communication Standard. This is not something that we made up. This is an organization that was founded, and who else than the Germans would think that they could change the world? The IBCS organization was founded a couple of years ago by Professor Rolf Hichert and Dr. Jürgen Feist, because they identified the urgent need for standardization, at least in financial reporting. That was their goal. And currently, the organization has over 2,000 members worldwide, and it has a framework that gives you kind of a guideline on how information is perceived fast, meaningful, and correct. And I could talk about this for days, obviously. So I just run you through the highlights of this. And the very first piece of rules is convey a message. Just think about the dashboard before or any report you have consumed. If you look at a sheet music, you always know where you find the artist, the composer, the key. You know where to look for. In a report, you have to scatter around. What's the key figure? Which period? Is this top 10 customers? Is it this within legal entity, with this legal entity? It's impossible. There's no rule. Every new company, every new report, every new department, our profession, we do this on a daily basis. Gauges are my favorite because they use the most amount of space for the minimum amount of information you can possibly present. I hope I'm stepping on no one's toes here. And if so, I'm happy to take the argument at our booth. Comparison next, same use of space. You have the history, you see development, and you probably do a different decision than based on what the information from here. Simplify, avoid everything and anything you don't need. The traffic light stands out more if you don't use any other colors, to have a metaphor here. Condense, if you keep up with the older rule, with the rules before, you can bring in even more information to it. And the visual integrity, this is my fight against windmills. Cutting access, there is always a better solution, trust me. Don't cut access, because it's absolutely misleading, because there are two systems in your brain. The guy that found this out got a Nobel Peace Prize. I'm not assuming, I'm not telling you exactly what happens, but there's two systems in your brain, fast and slow thinking. The fast thinking brain is the one that kicks in first, sees the image and tells you, okay, this number is way higher. Then you read the number, and then your slow thinking brain tells you, hey, attention. This is actually a lot larger or smaller, and then those two fight constantly. And this is not intuitive, and the chart should be helpful. All of this is useless if we don't have a semantic notation, which just means the same things you do should always have the same meaning. And for financial reporting, just to pick out one of the 147 rules that are handled in the book and the PDF that you can download for free online, is actual is black, previous is like a shady version of actual is gray. The budget is an empty box because you have to fill it, and the forecast, being a mixture of those two, is the hatched line. And if you understand this, you will fully understand my demo, even though we've just met a couple of minutes ago. As I said, if you're interested in the IBCS topic, I'm not from the organization, I'm just a member. IBCS.com, really interesting stuff. They do a lot of awesome seminars. They come to your company, they do presentations, they do certifications, a lot of things. I did this 2012, and when I came back, I had to change everything I do for all eternity. So it was quite a life-changing moment for me. Coming now to this in action, because having a great concept is awesome. And if you're like me, 7 years ago, I run out of this and say, hey, this guy made some sense. And then I try to execute this, and I reach through the standards, and I have a really difficult time enabling my organization, myself. I can tell them, hey, this is how you should do it. And I say, awesome. And then I go into Click and try to visualize and do proper scaling, or I go to any other tool that we don't name here, and I have the same problem. So we took it on ourselves to have this one-legged stool of a best practice, which is called IBCS, because a one-legged stool, you can make it work somehow, but it's not really what we want to do. We want to make the one-legged stool the metaphorical three-legged stool. So besides knowing what to do, we need someone being able to do what is supposed to be done, like WITSIDE, for instance, an internal, external consultant, and an enabling technology. And with Click, we do more than one technology in Germany and Switzerland. But as a Clicky myself, my heart still beats green after all these years. And going for that platform this is the foundation. You cannot go wrong from there. And to prove that point, we extended Click by an extension called TrueChart. Now, these two fancy little stickers that we were awarded, the left one is from Bark, that we are fully enabling the IBCS standard, if that's what you want to do. And the other one in this room, probably more important, is that we are a trusted extension developer. This is not just something that was cooked up in the cellar by two or three coders. This is real software. Click evaluated it, and it is guaranteed to work with every new version it's supported, and it will also be there tomorrow. Now with this TrueChart, I'll get through the marketing slides a little faster, because usually this is where I lose the attention for some reason. Better, faster, more decision making. Key pillars, and I go through fast because I'll show some clips of this in action. This is way more entertaining than me just talking. Some moving images. IBCS charting engine, of course, because else my introduction wouldn't have made any sense. A very good chart visualization wizard to get everyone being able to do that. The cross-platform template library, which is just an amazing piece. Well, I'll show you also live. And report annotation and commenting system. And a Click Sense enhancement package. One survey, just by a show of hands, who is still, at least as a second version, running Click View? So Click View customers. Oh, it's getting less and less interesting. If you haven't switched to Click Sense because you're missing a lot of functionality in Click Sense, like triggers, actions, those kind of things, this is our Click Sense enhancement package. Have a look at it. It's one of the more downloaded extensions on the branch. I'll show this very fast because there's also Click Employees here. We also support other tools. It's cross-platform. That means the same visualization, same functionality is also available in some other tools. I'm not sure if I should keep this on here because it might be replaced with another name in the near future. Just kidding. So the demo. As I'm also a marked person in having failing live demonstrations regularly for various reasons, I did the easy way. I pre-recorded the stuff that I want to show, and I can just roll the clip and talk a little bit to it. The application I'm going to show is a demo application. It's available online on our homepage. And we built this as part of a challenge from Click. So Click in the Central European region said, hey, partners, we need some more demos. Build one for us. And the one that wins gets a pat on the back and the prize. And we got both because we won in the category of using extension. And this is the application I'm going to show you. So for the ones that know what that means, this was not built using a mashup or anything else than the ClickSense client. We can even show it to you at our booth on local ClickSense client, ClickSense desktop, but it's everything just using menu bar, toolcharts or extensions, and Click. Even that one here. That's one sheet where you can just navigate through different versions, have text and images, and so on. So this is the P&L of this random company. It's just sample test data. And you probably recognize some of the stuff that I've talked about before. We have actual previous year forecast. Our P&L here is structured as a waterfall. We see the deltas also as a waterfall with impact to EBIT. So we see, forecast, we really didn't hit it, but it probably was very enthusiastic because we are 1.6 million above previous year. And that's a visual impression, and I can promise you, this image here, will stay. You will remember that, because it's aiding you understanding the proportions. You will understand, you will remember that food revenue is more important than drink revenue in parts of revenue contribution. And let's hope, yeah, it's working. And of course, it's fully interactive. It's still ClickSense, right? So everything you know from ClickSense, searching, associative engine, anything, it's still working. It's just built on top. So TrueChat is just on top, utilizing everything. So we can, and this is the Click enhancement package, the menu bar, where you can switch variables. You have input boxes, date pickers, action triggers, all that kind of stuff that makes the user experience much more enjoyable, as we believe. And also, this is obviously guided at guided analytics and not self-service primarily, because ClickSense is awesome in self-service. It's awesome. There is nothing else to be done. But you don't have only self-service. You have management reporting, and digitalizing your management reporting, which we did for large enterprises with this solution, is, it makes it a lot easier. Also, the usage of space. Remember, we're still in the ClickSense client. We just hit all the elements that we don't want to see, because this is your digital management report that you can just pop up instead of a PowerPoint. So we see that past Ralph is now navigating through the application a little bit. The one piece I definitely want to comment on is the comments, play on words. So here we have the so-called inline comments. So just imagine this is your management reporting, and now you can just communicate to each other, and not just in only a dynamic way, but also preparing your management report. You don't have to print this. You still can, of course, but you don't have to. So you can just have your controllers get in there, comment the P&L, comment for different countries, because these comments here, they are linked to data points. So if I go now to Germany, to Switzerland, to Greece, to the different entities, the comments will change. So it's an interactive commenting process that is still fully controlled. So you can control who can comment, when, who is able to see which comments, so similar to section access. So a very powerful method to bring also your senior management people into the application. We managed for a large enterprise in Germany to have the bi-weekly member of the board meeting not using PowerPoint anymore, but this year, because they just click forward a couple of times, and instead of 125 pages, they have 10 click sheets, and if they're interested in certain subsidiaries, they just select them. If they're not interested, they just skip forward, which they anyway do with the printed out version of the management report, but just skipping 15 pages because you have the P&L for every entity or every division. And we're, of course, not just an IBCS visualization tool. You see here in the middle pillar, we went rogue on the standard. We have a diversity KPI, male, female, education level, using symbols. So all the tiny bits that might seem not important, but we all know the eye candy, making it appealing, making it interesting to look at, is half of the thing you need to do to get the attention. The other thing would be having the right numbers presented. And we also have the so-called perspective comments in here. So not just in tables, so you can pop this commenting object anywhere on any sheet, and just type away. You can just write comments in there, what you think about certain numbers, developments. You can have these annotated, so you have these little bubbles that you can move somewhere and say, hey, I'm actually talking about this number here. So you give context, and we call this the 2 pillars of information, because one pillar is the actual data. That's what probably will not be done by a human person in 5 years. But interpreting it, giving meaningful measures to react on it, this is what management, executives, decision makers is interesting for. And you have several, dozens or hundreds of controllers that know all these things. Probably all of you have been in a situation where there was panic because there was some outlier, minus 50% versus budget, and then you found out after a day of investigation that it's just a wrong booking, or there was just some cancellation. It's all is fine. You can comment this here and save yourself and the whole organization a lot of trouble. Last but not least, we cannot just integrate ClickSense into other tools embedded. We can reverse this with TrueChart. So we can bring other tools into ClickSense. We use the Bing search engine here because we cannot use Salesforce because this is just random data. But the idea would be you have selected a customer, you have your guide analytics store, and then you find out, hey, this customer, we haven't been there for 6 months, and the revenue decreased because you still see the development here. And then you can just pop in Salesforce here, already logged into the user that's logged into Click, single sign-on, be blessed, and having the customer pre-selected that the user is currently interested in. And then you can directly type away and say, okay, schedule another meeting here. So bringing everyone for everything into Click as often as possible to have one platform. Our customers, they don't even understand where Click begins and where it ends because everything is just one platform. They go to the hub, they go to the sales dashboard, and then this is their central piece of information and the central piece of attention. Now for the ones, I try to make it the most minimum amount of techie I can manage, but still please allow me this 1 minute of just showing you how one of these charts is built using the template library. This was a game changer when we introduced it last year. This process you probably already know, right? We pop in some measures, some dimensions. This has been predefined. And so we just associate the data to the chart. And the next piece is using a template from the library. Some of those are prepared by TrueChart. And you can build as many and as many different templates as you want because 80% of your charts are usually pretty much the same. Bar charts, line charts, and the like. So what I do now is I chose a template, I just map the data. So he wants 1 dimension, 4 measures. And he showed me in the preview what he's going to do. I just map the data, done. I have already a title from the template. I have 2 commenting boxes, a general and a detailed comment. I can now link these comments to my data. And I have a bar chart, budget versus forecast, a delta, now it's saving, a delta in percent, and now I can go from there. This is a 30-second job for a chart that is properly scaled, that is applying all the standards from IBCS if you want to. And this enables you to have like a central piece of a central BI environment where 2 people dictate which charts are built. They're like the chart lab. They build charts that then the organization is reused and say, hey, these are the 25 charts we built. If you want to have another one, let us know, because then we tell you why you don't need that one. The menu bar, to close it off, just to have a summary of all the different things that are capable of. I will test you if you remember everything. No, but you probably see some parts that are interesting for you. A management executive of the menu bar, why we think it's a great addition to the ClickSense platform is because you're faster, it's easier, and the user experience greatly changes. The best part for me is it's easy to learn / self-explanatory. There's a knowledge base online. It's been on the branch for years. We've been chat up on connections from random people that said, hey, awesome, menu bar, and then they just left and took some chocolates from our booth. It's the same thing that you already know. You define some dimensions, some elements, you build it up. You can fully control this thing, how the colors look like, hover colors. You can group selection elements into each other. You can have 40, 50, 60 different selection criteria in here, all neatly grouped. That's the end of it. I invite you to visit us at our booth. We have something for you. The chocolate was not a joke. And my colleague Nina and Bastian will also join me. And thank you very much for having me.
Thank you very much.